This is my first solo video on this channel, and what a way to start it off with this album. Let me preface this video by saying that I'm a Drake fan and I love his old music, but the music right now, it ain't doing too hot. Honestly, Nevermind by Drake. What could we expect? Nothing, because he didn't tell us about anything. This was the latest surprise drop by Audrey, the Six, Drake himself. And let's be honest, enough time has passed to where we can have a grown-up conversation about how we feel about this album. It was weak. It was weak. And I say that with all due respect. This album was dropped under the guise of being a dance album, not a hip-hop album, not a R&B or rap album, a dance album. You could tell that from the production, from the beats that you hear on this album all the way through until the last song, which we'll get into. But for a dance album and for an album that's supposed to make you move and feel something, it don't do all that. We could start off with Falling Back easily. Drake's worst song of all time. Did you hear that voice crack? The production on this thing was mediocre at best. The first half of the album, the beats sound like I could make them when I was 14 on Music Maker Jam on my phone. That alongside Drake's vocal inflections on this was very questionable and hard to listen to, and overall just a bad start to this album. We move on to other songs like Sticky, which, wow. I mean, I know some people would care to listen to Drake's sexual interactions over a dance beat, but if this is really what you want to hear over a beat that's supposed to make you dance and move, we gotta start asking some very serious questions. We got songs like Currents, and you know, people are gonna give him a pass. I almost gave him a pass on this song because it's clearly aimed to be a club banger, but wow, the rocking bed sound, are we being honest? Moving on to the second half of this album, we have better production, I would say, rather than the first half on songs like Massive and Overdrive. We have a bit better beats, but at the same time, it does not help it when Drake is essentially moaning on these beats with very weird auto-tune not sounding that good and adding to the beat at all. It just makes for a very mediocre project in my opinion. And then we get to the last song, Jimmy Cooks featuring 21 Savage, which is easily the eyesore on this whole album in the fact that it doesn't fit a dance album, but it's also easily the best song on the album. Drake relatively does well on this song, and 21 Savage, he does hold his own. I say hold his own, he carries the song, and by carrying the best song on the album, he essentially carried the album. And the reason why I'm not mentioning any of the other songs is because, let's be honest, they're all just a big blah, not memorable. I'm not gonna go back to listen to them. It's unfortunate that that's what this album gave us. The problem with this album is not that it's a dance album, and it's not that Drake is trying to enter some new aspect of his career, try a new sound, be versatile as an artist, which, let's be honest, we gotta give him props for doing this. The problem is, it sounds like not only little to no effort was given into this, I failed to see what the point of this drop was. This entire album is a bit of a question mark, if I'm being completely honest. For example, the song Calling My Name. It's a song, but is it a song? Especially on a dance album, the beat switch in the middle makes absolutely no sense, which is where I started to get confused as to really what this album was. Obviously, it has its house elements at the start, but then at the end, the beat switch just, it makes you lost. And then, to top it all off, Jimmy Cooks is a song that we would all usually expect from Drake. Hip-hop song, 21 as a feature, 21 and Drake. We know a banger is probably gonna come out, and it did with this song, but it doesn't fit a dance album. What was this album overall? I feel like we've gotten to the point where Drake is so popular and so much of a household name that, and I hope this isn't the case, but Drake can think that he can drop whatever he wants, whether he puts little to no effort in it or gives it his blood, sweat, and tears. He can drop it and everything will be great. He'll get the streams, he'll get the notoriety, people will think it's great. I really hope that's not the case. This album is a clear show of Drake trying something new, but not really doing the best job at it. The production was weak, the bars are weak. I'm not gonna say the whole album was an L. I do like a few songs on this. Text Go Green, I thought was a high note on this album. I like Drake's bar on it. I like the beat on this. Jimmy Cooks is also a highlight. And I also thought Overdrive was a relatively good note. It wasn't terrible, I would say, and honestly listenable. But overall, this whole album was weak and clearly isn't Drake's best work. It does not reflect Drake at his best. And honestly, I'm leaning toward it reflecting Drake's mindset right now. Yes, he has the fans. Yes, he has the Grammys. He has the notoriety. But this seems like no effort was given to it. Sure, Drake wants to go into a new path, maybe create a new sound for himself and go down that dancer house wave, I guess. But surely he could have put more time and effort into it to make a more complete sounding project that many or majority of the people that listen to this would actually go back and listen to. Obviously, he's gonna have that part of his fan base that are loyal to the very end. They're gonna love anything he puts out, even if it's hot dirt. And I think we're seeing this right now. Ultimately, when an artist like Drake puts out music, you would hope that the artist is putting out music that they want to put out and enjoying the process of making music, listening to people's reaction of the music, going on tour, doing that music live. You would hope that they love it and that they're not burdened by the whole process. And clearly Drake is having fun with it. But at the same time, when the content you're putting out is weak, it's going to cause for some questions. It's going to cause for some backlash. Now, in all fairness, Drake is not new to this type of thing. But if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time Drake has really reacted or responded to the quote-unquote hate or dislikes that this album is receiving. You know, he's put out merch, which I actually like. I like that. If you're reading this, honestly, Nevermind shirt, I actually like that one. It's clear that he has a fair mindset to it, and I've seen old videos resurfacing on Twitter about Drake talking about how the wave nowadays when somebody drops an album is that it's all about clicks and getting the likes, about trashing an album first, but then months down the road we'll look back on the album and say, oh, this was actually good and stuff. I don't think that's the case here. That is easily not the case here. Going for a dance album is one thing. Going for a dance album that people will move to, that you might get some club play in, stuff like that, that's great. Not songs like Falling Back, not songs like Currents. And I know Currents is gonna get played in a club because it's Drake and the name holds weight. I know it is. And that's the problem. Not songs like Sticky. Now, in all fairness, let me talk about Sticky a little, because Sticky started off bad but ended off good. I didn't like how it started off. I'll be honest, I don't care how sticky it gets, Drake. I don't want to know how sticky it got or gets. But at the same time, towards the middle and the end of the song, he actually comes in with some bars, and the beat, he rides it well. So Sticky is like mid, but that's all I can explain this album as, very mid, and overall might be his worst project to date. Y'all can get in the comments and argue that for yourselves. Drake is gonna put out what he's gonna put out. We'll see what happens next, especially on a surprise drop like honestly Nevermind. I'm not sure what he was expecting the reactions to be. It seems like he's dealing with it relatively well. I just hope we get the old Drake back. Not necessarily the old sounding Drake, but the Drake that would put in the work and the time, because when he does that, we clearly get the best of him. Pause.